Hey guys, welcome back to the Age of Digital podcast, where we talk about Amazon, e commerce, and all things digital media related. I'm your co host, Phil, joined by my other co host, Sean.
Hey guys, I'm Sean.
And in today's podcast episode, we're going to talk to you why being the best seller in your niche category on Amazon is usually not worth it. So, Sean, start for us.
Right. So bestseller ranking or BSR really indicates how much sales you're getting, right, on a given day. And the lower your rank, the more sales you have. And this is how Amazon really is determining where you fall within uh, the product pages, right? So if you're page one, you're selling more than your other competitors. And that's how you get to page one. The name of the game in Amazon is to get to page one, right? So depending on your strategy, right, it's always going to revolve around selling just enough to stay relevant within page one, right? Your strategy could be to sell for higher margins, less velocity, less sales velocity, or um, more to capture that first place, first ranked spot within the first page, but at a lesser volume, right? And Phil, when you sell now, the purpose to tie back into the purpose of this podcast, which is to really talk about why sometimes it might not be the best to be the number one spot in your category subcategory. That's because you could face a lot of potential issues against your competitors, with your competitors who are constantly trying to compete against you. And one of those things that we definitely notice with our clients and with our own business is being rank one. There's going to be a lot of copycats, because they're trying to emulate your success, right? So they're going to look at your listing, they're going to dissect it, and most likely they're going to copy it with something even better, or just straight up just rip off your listing. And Phil, let's talk about some of that,
Yeah,
those things that
exactly.
we've experienced.
Yeah, so I mean, some of our clients that we manage, they have bestsellers. We've had
Right,
bestsellers a few times for some of our products. We weren't
right,
intentionally gunning for it, but there were just situations where our competitors ahead of us ran out of stock, so we naturally just overtook them in rankings, right?
right.
And what we noticed that was pretty consistent throughout our client and our business was that when you become bestseller, the first thing you will see is you will see a lot of copycats come into your space selling a very similar product like yours, but they
Mm-hmm.
usually, for a reason or another, they tend to price it at a lower price point because
Right,
I think Sean, in their eyes is that you know since we are first place, we are the gold standard, right? Or we're kind of public enemy number one to everyone else, all our other competitors. So
mm-hmm.
in their eyes, it's like if I can sell the exact same product that the bestseller is selling for and I lower the price points for it, then in theory, I should be getting quite a number of sales. But that doesn't really hold up a lot of the times, right? Because when you're the number one bestseller, you have very big brand recognition. When someone's searching for your product on Amazon and you're the bestseller, people know that you are probably there for a reason. Everyone knows who you are to a certain degree. People probably have you on their wish list, or it's highly recommended by Amazon, right? So, that's the first thing you'll see as being a bestseller. You'll see a lot of people trying to copy your products, and regrettably, they usually don't do a good job. I don't know why. We do see that quite often.
Right.
And yeah, they usually
Yeah,
try to
talk
lower the
about that
price point.
time when that person from Halifax, I think we talked about in the other podcast as well, but for
Yes,
any of our
yes.
new
So
listeners out there,
yeah, so
yeah, we
one
were
of our yeah, so one of our products made it to bestseller once again because our competitors ran out of stock, and not too long after we saw another seller come into the space, exact same
Mhm.
product. They even stole some of our own images, like literally copy and pasted onto their listing,
Mhm.
and they lowered it at a much lower price point. But the thing was that the product wasn't selling well, and the seller immediately started getting bombarded with negative or bad reviews on their seller's
Right.
account because everyone was just like, "Hey, you stole images from the real seller, which was our product. This guy is not the real deal. He's a fake." And to
Yeah.
make matters worse, on Amazon, sellers' accounts now display their business address. He used
Right.
his home address as his business address. We just Google
Right.
mapped it, and it was
Yeah.
there. It
So
was
funny just to see him in his home, um, as a competitor who's stealing your product. And I think, we saw in the seller forum, we're obviously not going to be threatening anybody, but in the seller forums, it's a huge source for good memes and laughs because it's just super vicious. Like nobody wants to help each other, but these beginners, they post thinking that they're going to get some useful information, but everyone who's had broken dreams on Amazon just lurk that forum, ready to pounce on any beginner to call them out. I don't know if you guys have had that experience, but that's happened a lot. Some people have threatened the life of other sellers for copying or even stealing their buy box for OARA, which is arbitrage item, right? So no one owns the actual rights to the product, but they're just competing against each other on price.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Like copying your products, it's that's come on, like throw a little more originality into it. But
Yeah,
obviously, when you're trying to start, when you're just trying to like threaten other sellers online and stuff, that doesn't bode well for anyone, right? Just
exactly. Just be
at what
careful out there, right?
exactly, be careful. And what Sean and I have noticed for our account, our clients' accounts, when these things happen, is that usually these copycatters they don't last long because they don't really put a lot of effort into their
Right.
listing, into their products. They try to put at a lower price point. It's not doing well because they don't get indexed for keywords. Their product is very new, very low reviews, and they're left kind of just scratching their heads like, where did I go wrong
Right.
in all of this?
And you can fake your way to 10,000 reviews, right? And but at the end of the day, you have to face real customers. You could spend $100,000 to rank one. Those 2 stars are going to roll in, and slowly over time, it's going to devalue your listing, right?
Exactly. And
Right.
ultimately, it's the Amazon customers who will be the one judging if your product is worthy enough to continue selling on Amazon profitably, right?
Right.
So, Sean, let's I guess like let's move into some of the other key points of
Right.
what happens when you become bestseller.
Right. So some of the things that we've noticed with our clients and ourselves, and first and foremost, our clients, is there's a lot of sellers out there who buy their competitor's product, leave a bad review, and promote their own product. Now, these are some of the things to deal with as rank one, right? Or somebody who's envious of a new competitor who's getting good reviews. They will try and quickly suppress it by pushing it down. Terrible for the client experience, right? We all hope that this just doesn't happen, but sometimes when people are desperate to keep their business or to grow their business, these are some of the underhanded tactics that people are willing to take. Another one would be IP claims. Thankfully, our business hasn't had to experience that, but we've dealt with clients who have dealt with this, and not a fun situation. You're going to need legal help if you're not a good writer, right? Of course, we have a few friends who are good at writing. They're able to write away their POAs like they are able to play the violin. Somebody who's able to play the violin, but me and Phil aren't the greatest of writers, so definitely you would definitely need legal help, and that's very expensive to do. And um, you know, if they can knock you out of the race, then they're just going to get more sales. So it's a dog eats dog world. And that's something that we all have to take into consideration as Amazon sellers and when we have those bestseller rank one ambitions,
Yeah, it's kind
right?
of sad to hear that this happens to a lot of sellers daily. And, it's even more sad in the sense that you're actually jeopardizing someone's livelihood here, right?
Right,
That business could be their full-time income. That
right,
business could be the what is helping support their family and also paying their employees, especially
right,
during these times where jobs, cash flow means more than ever to small businesses alike, right? So for people to have these it's just a next level of greed, and it's kind of sad to see this, how people are willing to just throw their business ethics out the door if they can kind of claw their way through to the
Hmm.
top spot, and even then, it's still a slim chance for them, but they're willing to make that risk.
Right. So what are some of the alternatives that we need to be looking for now? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. So, now that you guys have a better understanding of what the problems bestsellers kind of face with potentially in all categories, the best alternative by far is just not be the number one seller. Be number two, three, four, five, six, and so on and so forth. Be in the top 10 seller position of your category. If you're in the top 10 position of your industry, you are probably still going to be making a very nice, decent chunk of money at that time. But the thing is that since you're not number one, you are not in the spotlight. Not all the lights are
oh,
shown at you at the moment, and
right,
you're not gonna see a lot of the problems the bestsellers is gonna face. You're essentially flying under the radar while still capturing a lot of sales in the process.
right. And you know what? A good um, term, I guess, would to consider is, it's not a sprint, but rather Amazon is a marathon. So we are always playing for the long game, right? As long as you're able to consistently generate income, spread out your assortments, grow over year, then you're okay.
Exactly. And when your product is like in the top 5, top 10, right, but not the top 1 position, you actually have a lot of data and valuable information at hand, right? For one, is that your product's doing well if it can remain up there. So if you ever want to push for the top one, the bestseller position, you're ready to take on all the problems and hassle it comes with. You can probably do it. You just have to drive more sales, right? Because you're already up there.
Right,
You now know what it takes. And the second is that when you're up there in the top 5, 10 position, you now know that your product is a definitive winner, and you can start thinking of creating variations of your products in that
right.
same category space to really help you increase your sales revenue on Amazon. We spoke about this in one of our previous podcasts, but variations is a very quick and easy way to help you immediately get more revenue on Amazon, especially once you have a winning product.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So this concludes today's episode on why it being the bestseller in your space on Amazon may not be worth your time and effort. I hope this really gave you guys some insights. Take it from us sellers. We've faced this being bestsellers and not bestsellers, and we would take not being the bestsellers any day just because of the less hassle and problems we face with. So keep in mind, if you are selling on Amazon or considering selling on Amazon and you have your eyes on the prize, this is something to consider for. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, guys.